to be wealthy? Do you want to be in control of your finances? Do you feel like you mostly get financial advice from people who are trying to sell you a bank's products? If your answer is yes to any of these questions, then stay tuned because you are at the right place. Welcome to Money Convos, a club committed to helping people achieve financial freedom by providing education and guidance on personal finance and investments. We have a group of experts who share their knowledge and give practical advice with no strings attached. At Money Convos, we have candid, mature conversations about wealth, how to create it, grow it, and protect it. We share our experience and encourage our audience to share theirs and ask questions. Join us every Thursday on Clubhouse at 7 p.m. GMT. We also have book discussions that bring out practical lessons. So far, we have read Dumb Things Smart People Do With Their Money, The Richest Man in Babylon, and The Millionaire Next Door. Most importantly, we have one-on-one financial coaching sessions where we guide individuals through setting financial goals, retirement planning, budgeting, investments, risk management, and so many more areas. The goal is to get you to financial independence from whatever income level you're at. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Clubhouse. The handle is at Money Convos GH, or send us an email at moneyconvosgh@gmail.com so we get you started on your journey to financial freedom. Now that you're all caught up, let's head into our next conversation. Do you want to be wealthy? Do you want to be in control of your finances? Do you feel like you mostly get financial advice from people who are trying to sell you a bank's products? If your answer is yes to any of these questions, then stay tuned because you are at the right place. Welcome to Money Convos, a club committed to helping people achieve financial freedom.
Hello there, Jenny. How you doing?
Hello, Elikim. I'm doing well, thank you. And you?
Great. So, it's yet another wonderful week after a nice weekend has passed, and we are here again to discuss another interesting book. We just finished discussing Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yes, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Last week, and today we are heading into an interesting book about the greatest man or the greatest professional investor. Jenny, any thoughts on this book? Are you excited?
I am very excited because, personally, I haven't read any biography of Warren, and the introduction is there are a glimpse of his childhood, grew up, and everything. It's really interesting. So I'm really excited about this book. Like they'll give us the intricacies of how he thinks and all of that, and I'm really excited to about it.
Oh, okay, that's great. I think your either your internet is breaking or you are not close enough to your mic.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So yes, we would learn many different things. And I must say, this was quite, I haven't read the whole book yet. I have just read a tiny portion of it. And the writing is just peculiar. It's interesting how they are taking it. It starts from talking about, well, I usually read the preface. So the person who was actually write the preface is the son of an old friend of Warren Buffett's, and he makes certain parallels between that or certain lessons from Warren Buffett that we should all learn about, and parallels between his father and Warren Buffett. And even into the introduction, it starts on the topic of philanthropy. No, not the introduction, the first chapter. It starts on the topic of philanthropy and says, well, all this wouldn't have been possible if he didn't make a lot of money, right? So, yeah, it's an interesting book so far. This point on philanthropy reminded me of something someone said that, well, when you are rich, even when you can't attend an event, your money will attend on your behalf. So you can make a whole lot of impact with when you invest well and you have a lot of money. So looking forward to hearing what this book has to say. Let's start off from perhaps the introductory chapters, lessons learned in there. Something I found intriguing, and I wonder if you also observed it, is them saying that you should associate with people of integrity and skill. And said, when once you associate with the best, don't be wrong about that, and then don't tell them what to do. Isn't that just interesting about associating with these people and sort of managing your encounters with them? What do you think?
Yeah, so it's when I read the same thing, I also noted now like you did. It is interesting that just associated with people who have integrity, and you don't have to be worried about them having your back or them going to backbite you or a lot of things. But if you associate with them, you know that what we call say we are going to do is what we are going to do. So the relationship is really building up on the value that is being brought and how we are improving and all. So it's really interesting. And truly, people that have integrity, they don't need to be supervised. They don't need to be micromanaged. So you can leave them to their devices because you know that they are still going to bring on board what we all agree that they are going to bring on board. So yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, wouldn't life just be much easier that way? Imagine if you did it in your work, you didn't have to do a whole lot of follow ups. Man, imagine if you did not have to follow up on anybody in your work. Life would be so much better. Okay, interesting. Another thing I found intriguing is that he doesn't stick to one way of thinking or one way of investing or one investment philosophy. He keeps evolving over time. What do you think of that?
The, the thing about shit that we say that you not say you will start with your waist. I think I'm paraphrasing at this point, but yeah, I like the way he changes with the tides. This thing is not working for him. Then he has to sit back and then later, I think chapter 1, a time came where he said he didn't understand what was going on in the market, like with stocks, with the exchange and security markets, especially the stock exchange. He said he didn't understand. And so he had to sit back and then give people back their money because what he thought was going on wasn't what was going on. And he didn't want to play a game that he didn't understand. He had to sit back and then pivot into something that would talk on, and then be able to do well with his skills and then develop the talent that he has. So I think it's really interesting how he was pivoting left, right, front, center when the situation called for it.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, can you imagine anyone who runs an investment firm saying, you know what, everybody take your money back. When we figure it out, we'll call you back. Well, that's like suicide.
Yeah.
That's suicide. But the way human beings are, if you're running the business, you're wondering what would they be thinking? And in fact, let me ask you, if your money manager said that, well, I can't figure this one out, so you take your money for a while and then I'll call you back. What would you do? Would you ever go back?
No. Okay. Now I would trust. I would be very happy that he came up to tell me that he couldn't figure it out. So if he comes back and then I haven't gotten a better offer, or I'm not,
Mm,
I am so hung up on what he used to do for me, I would go back because now I trust that he has what the necessary qualification to showing himself and his ability to invest in that market. But if
mm.
I have got somebody that I think I'm good with working with and all of that, chances are I will be able to go back.
Okay, okay, all right. You know, you have that faith in the person. I guess for me too, it's that humility to be with someone who have the humility to say, Charlie, this one party, I don't know. You know, so interesting point to note. Let's see. What other lessons did I pick up? So the person who wrote the preface. Oh, and before that, I see some shout outs. I see Edem in the audience. I see Kesi in the audience. Hello to you all. Okay, all right. So continuing, I just want to read a small part of the book, and it goes as this. Throughout my career, people have asked me why and this is someone else, not Warren Buffett, the person with the preface. Throughout my career, people have asked me why I don't do things more like my father did or why I didn't do things more like Mr. Buffett. The answer is simple. I am myself, not them. I have to use my own comparative advantages. I'm not as shrewd a judge of people as my father, and I'm not the genius Buffett is. It is important to use this book to learn, but don't use this book to be like Warren Buffett. You can't be Warren Buffett, and if you try, you will suffer. This is interesting. And it continues to say, use this book to understand Buffett's ideas and then take those ideas and integrate them into your own approach to investing. It is only from your own ideas that you create greatness. Well, well, well. It's well said. You can't be exactly like the man. And it's talking about being yourself and just take the lessons and apply them and use those lessons in a way that would make sense to you. All right. And if it and once as you are making sense of those ideas, then you get to have it work in your favor to your advantage based on your skills. You get it. So that was a wonderful, humbling thought I had. I realized, and it's good it came early on because I was going to read this book and be like, okay, so Buffett did this, so okay. Tomorrow when I get to the office, I also do some. Jenny, how about you? What do you think?
So this is also very interesting. And I like the way he said that I will use it to my comparative advantage. We all have things that I that help us make decisions. Warren Buffett's, let's say, thought processes. So they said that there are things in our brain called synapses, and they make two people presented with the same stimulus may make two different decisions, and it's because of a lot of things that are shaping our synapses in our heads. So there's no way on this earth that you read this book, read all books about Warren Buffett, presented with the same situation with Warren Buffett, where you are independent of each other, you the chance are that you will still make different decisions. So it's not to say that, oh, I have to eat what Warren Buffett eats in the morning. I have to eat what he eats in the afternoon. I have to do everything he does as he does it. But you are taking the lessons and then putting it in the context of your life, of your career, of your investments, and then let it be a guide, like sort of a teacher to you for what you have to do. But then you are still having your own personal, um, what is it called? Behavioral symptoms or patterns part of it. Yes, it's not just to say that you're taking everything he has to do, and so if it's not even gelling with you, then you're taking that. So I think we should still do that, because sometimes even something that he does may not work in your context. As Elikem said, the going to say that I am going to give the money to people and say that I don't understand what's going on in the market, so I'm giving you your money, will not sit well in, let's say, even in a Ghanaian context. So you take the lessons, apply them as a guide, and then let us guide your process, but not be the be all end all of your existence. I've spoken a lot, but yeah, thank you.
No, it's very good. Very good what you said. Driving home the point. Don't you, there's this word that people use, authenticity. We all know what good values are, we all know what good characters are, but it's all about how you live those same values in a way that is authentic to you. You still do it in your way, and everyone would admire that. No one wants a phony, no one wants a fake person. So it will also pay well for you if you are authentic about these ideas. All right then. So that's on the sort of that was the forward. There's also the preface, right? And let's start getting into the meat of the book. Today will be sort of like an introductory thing, just touch on the book, get you all teased up so that you can all go and pick up the book and read along with us. I hope it doesn't get as technical as this book. Was it not
The
Psychology of Money? What was the book after Psychology of Money? The
intelligent,
intelligent. Exactly, the intelligent investor. I hope they tone it down for us. Okay.
the way it is going, I have a feeling it will tone down.
Okay. Yeah. With all these stories, it makes Warren Buffett feel like a human being. I very often I hear people say draw reference to Warren Buffett, but as I started reading this book, it dawned on me that what, I really don't know much about Warren Buffett. There was a time early in my career when I think Pani mentioned the Warren Buffett letters, or somebody did his AG for his AGM, the annual shareholder letters. Yes. So I started reading them. I took from a certain time and I started reading them, but I think I read only two. But yeah, there's really not much I know about him. So it's time to put the hearsay aside. This person said that. Now let's get into the meat of the matter and really see what is Warren Buffett's way. So Jenny, what any lessons that you picked up from this?
See, I picked two. I want to just talk
Okay.
about. The first one is that no matter how young you are,
Mm,
take to come your way and never give up in the sense that so he I think they okay, let me just start from a background. They were from a quite I think middle class to upper class family because the man was a broker. So in Warren Buffett's father, Howard Buffett, was a broker, or he worked in a brokerage company, and so he had quite some money. Yeah, so they were quite well off. Warren Buffett was learning. He used to go to his dad's office. And he was pestering them so much that they would let him write the stock prices on the chalkboard as they were coming up because those times it wasn't electric or electronic. So he would write it for them and all of that. And the man came home one day and said that they had lost their job, or that he had lost his job. Their savings was gone. Everything was gone. And then there's one sentence that says that they took a hit, and that was about it. That was about it. Nobody was being sad about anything. The next we heard about the man, he was being appointed as a congressman in Washington. There's I think we probably need to read more about Howard as a person because it was big of a change. Like it was too serious. But then it comes to Warren Buffett too. When at I think at 10 years old, he and his sister Doris, even after his father had lost his job and money was tight, they had gone to invest in a company, and I think they invested like $200. No, they had $200 each, but they invested about $114. And I think the stock went crashing down, and he started giving him pressure to and you see what you have done. We are somewhere with our money. You better go and invest in a company, and now our money is going down. You can imagine an 8 year or 10-year-old investing in the stock. Yeah. So Warren had patience and waited a little before he took it out. When he had gotten some returns, at least he didn't panic and take out everything at once. We need to be learning from a 10-year-old boy. But anyway, he didn't panic, waited a little bit, and then he got his money back. But then the stock kept soaring even after he took his money. So then he did the math of the amount he had forgone from what he had taken it out to what the price was now. And he said that he had forgone about 20 years worth of returns on that, on only that stock. And so he was he was now even more attracted to the stock market, and then learning and learning and learning about it. This was a 10-year-old's mentality. Like, that's what I want us to take out of it. Like, this was a 10-year-old. Yeah, those of us who are old enough and all of that, and still, yeah. Anyway, so that was my first lesson. Don't give
Jenny,
up.
let me comment on this first lesson before you move on. This last part that you've ended on, I think some people can relate. There are some people who fell for men's good and they lost money, but when the news came, they were energized because they saw that if it had kept going, or if they had gotten in early, they would have made even more money. So
Yeah,
this new one that they've heard about, they want to get in
so get
early enough.
it.
Oh man, isn't it just amazing how some of these things work? But yeah, it's a very important lesson you've mentioned, and I think it would be good to get into the minds of the Buffett families as they overcame those challenge, so that as they overcame those challenges, so that it wouldn't seem like, oh, they just have tough skin and they can tough it out, you know. So yeah, never give up. I guess perhaps it's so tricky to know when to give up, right? But
Yes.
as a 10-year-old, he actually did the math, he did the analysis, and realized that look, that's poor and party. I shouldn't have done it. So it's this is there was it. I read something or I heard it somewhere. It said you got to know when to call them and you got to know when to fool them. I think it has it's poker lingo. So you have to know when to be able to make those decisions. And with this thing I'm talking about, Serum is calling it early bird syndrome. For those who want to jump into the scams early and get out, early bird syndromes. Be careful if you suffer from that. Okay, Jenny, let's hear your second point.
My second point is never stop learning. One thing I really like, and I think Elikem mentioned this when I was about to start my new role. He was like, read, like, just consume information. And that's one thing I like. When I was reading this book, the first chapter, it just dawned on me. Warren Buffett consumed information. He was always reading. He was doing technical analysis. He didn't know what the theory was. He was just doing the graphs and then trying to make sense of the graphs. He was always in the library trying to understand what it was. And so by the time he was like learning, he hadn't gone to Colombia. As at the time he had started investing. He hadn't done any undergrad. I hadn't done anything. It was just from the fact that he had educated himself on books that were freely available. Yesterday, no, on Friday, I was coming home from the office with a couple that I come home with every day, and then we passed by a library, and it's around Kanda. So when you leave the mosque around Kanda, you are coming towards the Zenith Bank. Apparently, there's a library there. I didn't know that, and the lady just mentioned that, how many people know that this is a library where you can just go in and sit down and read? I don't think we still do that. But when I was growing up, I remember that my father used to make us go to a library. As he's learning, you are reading. And that, I think, is a very important culture. Learn, read. Sometimes you may think what you are reading is not relevant, but who knows? Steve Jobs was learning about calligraphs, and he came in the new iPhone. You never know. Just read and learn. And I think it will open doors. It will even change the way you think. It will change the way you perceive things, and it will open your mind beyond your current four square environment. Yeah, thank you.
Never stop learning. It's you used a certain word earlier, synapses, brain synapses, right? And when you learn a lot, it's just things you just start joining the dots. You have a whole bunch of dots in your mind. You are reading wide, you are reading deep in certain areas. It's only a matter of time before the lines get drawn. Right? Isn't it just interesting when you're having conversations with certain people and It's like they're knowledgeable on every topic. And it's not just for the purpose of conversations, it actually helps with making decisions because you are better informed, you have better perspective. So I totally agree with you, Jenny. Never stop learning. For me, a point I picked up from this book, I guess it's still on the softer things about Warren Buffett. And it's a saying he always he's attributed to. He says he won the ovarian lottery.
Yeah.
We no one got to decide. Or as far as I know, maybe some people, maybe Mimi was able to determine where she would come when she
Over
was.
I'll determine it to
Next time you determine it.
10 minutes. When I hear the post or the bra or those things, I'll advise myself.
On social media, uh, there are these pictures of babies who have some nasty look on their face. Like, what's
Yeah.
this? And it's like, oh, they were born and they thought they were going to Dubai or something, and then they showed up in Ghana or in Nigeria. anyway, hey, maybe you could be born in Ghana and then you'd be born to the despites or the likes of the despites. Hey, still that one you don't like? Wow. Okay. All right. okay. We hear you anyway. So yeah, the ovarian lottery, and what's it about? It was random who you were born to, which country you were born to, what like all those circumstances were random. All right. And it reminds me of a conversation we had on Money Convos sometime last year. Is your financial health or something your success is based on which one matters more? Is it your mindset or your circumstances? If you remember this conversation, drop a message in the chat because it got pretty heated, and I'm glad we had one person going for the unpopular position, which was circumstances. And it's just interesting because you could have we the general consensus was you could have two people in similar circumstances, yet one person will come out on top of the situation. One person will come out so miserable and blaming other people for their problems or blaming circumstances for their problems, and all the same circumstances, right? So what was different? The mindset, So yeah, I see Mimi is dropping a blend of both, So yeah, circumstances also matter. I guess it helps. The circumstances helps you to be appreciative of where you are, and then like I mentioned earlier in the part I read, know what will work to your competitive advantage. For example, we in Ghana, our tax laws are not as all encompassing, or let me rather say, the enforcement is not as stringent as those in the US. Where you take things like capital gains taxes, at least until December 2021, you could invest and not worry about capital gains taxes. So why not get in on the equity action? You know, foreigners have to pay capital gains taxes in their markets. So you have that benefit in Ghana. Yes, you were born here, but lower taxes. There are a whole lot of other things. And well, yes, it's true. It's unfortunate that in our circumstances we have to pay e-levy while other countries don't. But having an appreciation of is it someone says time and chance, right, would help you understand that sometimes you really just need to take advantage of the opportunities that you've been given and make the best out of them. So yeah, that's another lesson I picked from Warren Buffett. Jenny, do you have any more from the book?
Okay. So the the where he told people to know what the market was doing, so and that was more on integrity because it's true. When you read the book, it says that first it was value investing. People did analysis on intrinsic values and then decided that let's say this company was underpriced, and so I'll buy it, and then from the value that I perceive it to have, I'll make some capital gains on it. But after a while, it became purely speculative. Like, because of speculative interest in a stock, people were buying it in very very indifferent about its fundamentals. They were just buying it because it was a hot stock at the moment, and they were looking for a quick buck. And he said he didn't understand that, and that's not what he he didn't think he could still play in that field, use his old school mentality, and be able to get the returns that he had told them he was going to get for them. So what do I do? Then I let you know that I'm not fit to play in this market. Collect your money. We'll talk later, back later in life. And he even got somebody, his old schoolmate in Colombia, to take some people on in his money market fund and manage them for him. And I felt that goes beyond normal clients employ like clients investor investment management firm relationship. That was like, I understand you as a human being. I understand how you've gone far for your money. You've suffered to get your money. You brought it to me. So I'm going to treat you with respect and then give you the honor you deserve. And I think that was quite a very humbling thing that he didn't. From all his the from what I'm hearing or reading about, it seemed as if he still kept that human part of himself even as he was going through life. And I think that's quite a good thing to have. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, another thing I picked up apart from it being him being true to himself and being human and understanding of other people is the fact that you should have a spine. You should
Yeah.
have a spine, right? You should be able to come up with an independent decision and say, look, if something doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense, and I'm not going to pull the trigger as other people are pulling the trigger. I'm not going to panic when people are panicking. I'm not going to be overhyped when other people are overhyped. And it sounds contrarian, but the thing is, we all know that it's the truth. Like we've had enough history about investing to know that when people are panicking, that's when you should keep calm. When people are selling, you should buy. Yet every time people are panicking, then we are all just panicking. We're all just panicking, right? Today, Jerry, we had this conversation with a client, and I actually thanked the client because this is one client who allows me to to take trading decisions in the way that my conviction goes. And so I actually thanked him that we made certain moves. Like I sold a stock because I felt like it was overpriced, and so I should sell some parts to make profits. And if I mention the stock, you go like, of all stocks you should sell, this one pie, this should be your golden goose. I kid you not, that stock has lost more than Jenny, shouldn't is it like 20, yeah, about 20% since the time I sold it. Since not October last year, not October, November last year, right? And I've just saved my clients that drama or that actual loss in money. And so I thanked him because you could that same strategy. I brought it up to another client and he shut it down. His money self was even bigger. So well, I really appreciate that as an investment professional. When I had conviction, people around me or the person I was doing the work for was confident enough in me to let me take that decision. And when the results came out and it worked out well, I wouldn't. I see someone is guessing in the audience, but I can neither confirm nor deny. Yes. And then, yeah, so in all humility, I have to give him his stone too, right? Because other clients said no to me, but he said yes. And whenever I ask, I have an idea, he always supports it. So we need to have a spine, and sometimes having people who would support you, and in his case, having clients who would trust in him to say that, look, fine, I agree with you. You can't do it now. I'll take my money away and I'll bring it back later. But Jenny, think about it. What can really give someone, what's the word, the effrontery to be able to take such a decision? You should, that means over
So
time, you yourself, you should have been delivering, right? Or what do you think?
yeah, I was going to say that. He had proved himself over a long period of time, and his mode of investment, as he stuck to it, had proven itself. So, as I said, it wasn't the value investing. And going into the business, he had told his limited partners that he was going to try and beat the Dow Jones Industrial Average by 10%. But averaging all the years that he worked with them, he was able to beat it by 22%. So it's lends the credibility that, oh, this man knew what he was doing. And if truly says that he has read the end of his rope when it comes to the new market trends, then he has actually given us value for our money. So it's time to call it quits and go elsewhere. Yeah, the credibility was there.
Exactly. Credibility. People should able to believe you. And how we do people believe you? Through your actions and your results. You say what you do what you say, and you actually produce results that people can always rely on. Okay. So I guess today we'll be wrapping it up. We'll keep it short and sweet because it's more of introducing you to this book. And then next week we'll delve deeper inside and pick on certain lessons or more lessons that would get from the wealthiest professional investor, Warren Buffett. Yeah. Jenny, do you have any closing thoughts or any final lessons for us?
So my closing thought is that I'm really excited about this book. I want to know, I want to really learn the life of Warren Buffett. As I said, I was really interested in the fact that he was really learning, and then he took disappointment in stride and all of that. So I'm still really willing to open up and then listen, read about his personal life, how he was able to gel everything all his experience that he learned to become the person that he is, that we know him to be currently. So yes, I am quaking in my shoes. Nice.
Okay, great, great. Thank you for that. So, on that bombshell, I'd just like to remind you that we will be returning on Thursday on Clubhouse to continue our Thursday conversation. So do tune in. And until then, have a good week and subscribe to Money Convos everywhere. Money Convos GH on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere. And if you like to join in with supporting us in efforts, please do send us a message. Let's see how you can also help us spread the word about financial literacy. And if you also want to do that in cash too, why not? Let us know. We have a few things that we want to do to promote the word. So, wishing you a great week and catch you on Thursday at 7 p.m. Bye bye.